Hi, this is Mary from Seymour Library, and I am back to talk about another book. Today I'm going to be talking about this book, An Heir to Thorns and Steel. It's the first in a trilogy called the Black Ladder Trilogy, and it's by the author M.C.A. Hogarth. And once again, I don't have the physical copy of this book. I listened to the audio on Hoopla. I think that's the only way you can get this book. You can also purchase the book, but we're not going to encourage that. I'm going to encourage you to go to Hoopla and give the book a try. It had a very excellent narration, so even if you do the audiobook, you will not be disappointed. I thought it was an excellent read. Good narrator. So let's get to the nitty-gritty of the book itself. So the first story, which is the only one I'm going to be talking about, although I did complete the trilogy, within the first book, the main character, Morgan Locke, is a scholar, and he is studying at his university, and he has a great group of friends around him, and he's just living his life. And suddenly, he is not really besieged, but suddenly these strange creatures approach him, and they're kind of vampiric creatures, and they're drinking his blood, and they tell him that he is the prince that they've been looking for, and they want him to come with them. And Morgan is a little bit intrigued by this because he reads a lot of folklore and he's kind of entranced by the fact that these creatures exist. He's used to a human realm, and suddenly there's these creatures, but they tell them that they're genets and that he needs to come with them. And what tempts Morgan into going is that Morgan has dealt with immense physical pain his whole life. He doesn't know why he gets this, but he is just racked by pain, and he'll go into seizures and he gets physically ill when this happens. But he's noticed that when he's with the genets, he doesn't feel pain, and so he's in part intrigued by that, and also just the prospect that maybe he can find a cure for his illness when he goes out, because it's been getting a lot harder for him lately, and he's been hiding that from all of his friends, and also his love interest. So he feels like if he can find that cure, he can kind of start his life over. And so he does end up following the genets and going on this crazy epic adventure and discovering truths about himself, which I'm not going to give away. But I will just say that I enjoyed this whole series. There are some violent scenes to this book, and of course there's very graphic depictions of his pain and his illness. So some people that reviewed it kind of didn't like that whole aspect. I just thought it was part of the story. I thought it was very telling and very realistic to have that part of him told that way. So I didn't mind that, but be aware of it if that kind of thing bothers you. All in all, it is a very epic fantasy story. It does involve creatures and this whole world that needs correcting, and so I enjoyed following along with the whole trilogy and finishing that off, and I would recommend it to anyone who also likes fantasy and maybe stories that involve elves and other fantasy creatures. There's sorcery in this. Just the whole story is very engaging, and I like the way the whole series wraps up, so I'm not going to give anything away. But I would say if you finish book one, follow through for the full ending, because then you get the completion of the story, and it was just really good, and you do get to see like more of Morgan's friends, and of course the people that he meets along the way, and I don't know, I thought it was really great and just epic, and so I would totally recommend going to Hoopla and searching for this book, An Heir to Thorns and Steel. I thought it was so good, and you can also check out the other books in the trilogy there. I will also include the link to the book in the description of this video, so you can just go and click on it and you'll be taken right to the book if you want to give it a try. I would definitely recommend it. Again, if you're a fantasy fan and you like epic fantasy, try this one. I thought it was really good. That's it for this video, but I will be back with more book recommendations. Bye!